I'd like to tell you a couple of things that you guys should know. So in the exam, they might give you things like these, okay? And for example, they have given you some paper clips. Right now, they say we have given you like 15 paper clips and modeling clay or whatever. And modeling clay is attached to chain of one end. So it means there were like many paper clips and then there were like modeling clay attached to it. So it's something like this. Now in this question, first of all, they say find the length. So obviously you're gonna find the length with a meter rule, okay? So if you find the length using a meter rule, you guys need to remember, so let's suppose if this length, you put the paper clip on the meter rule, check it out. And I'm just supposing right now, and let's suppose this paper clip was like exactly 1 centimeter. Now, so if it comes as 1 centimeter, so you're gonna write 1.0 centimeter. Now why? Because the 0.0 centimeter represents the precision of the instrument, okay? So if they had told you to write it in meters, then you would write it as 1.00 meters, or you could even write it as 10 millimeter. Is that clear, everyone? So always take care of the precision, never write like 1, and obviously the unit is very important if they're not given. So that's something that I want to tell you. Then they have shown you a practical like this, and then there's a boss. Now whatever the drawing looks like, if they've put it like on the other way, the stand, you can easily rotate it. You can put it like this way. The boss has some screws like this. You can pull the boss in on the rod, and then you can just screw it tightly, and then just follow what is given, so it's not a big deal. Now I just want to tell you, in case you're stuck, okay, you're completely stuck and you don't know how to do, so if you take a minor help means there will be a supervisor in your lab. Usually that supervisor will be your physics teacher at school, okay? So if you take minor help, just ask the supervisor, say I want to take a minor help and I want you to, fix things. Minor help could be like you're not able to fix a boss, or maybe minor help was that you could not make this into a chain, which is highly unlikely, but minor help will cost you 1 mark. Now I'll tell you why this is important later on. And major help, which means that everything is like laying down and you have no idea what to do, okay? And you don't know, especially in electricity, you have no idea what to do. And then what you do is you take major help, and that will cost you 2 marks, and just tell them that, okay, I can't do anything, please help me set up the whole apparatus, okay? So that is going to cost you 2 marks. That's it. So in reality, the exam, the paper to set up the experiment is just 2 marks in reality, okay? So I just want to tell you, in case you're completely stuck, you can take either minor help or major help. Usually the teachers are very cool, unless you have a very bad kismet, that's a different issue. But if your luck is good and the teacher is very nice, so he can also do it for free, by the way. Now then it says that you have to just follow this and you need to find the time period. Now here I would like to tell you that it says determine the time period t of the oscillations. Obviously you take the time period, but why would it give you 2 marks here when you did the same thing? You measured the length and you also wrote the unit with the correct precision, and then you still get 1. Why would he give you 2? The other mark, whenever you see 2 marks, you should always remember that you need to show average. That is this 1 plus mark for this, okay? Do remember that. Now how do we show average? So what you do is you take, let's suppose 10 oscillations, and you get on your stopwatch, the stopwatch will always be like 2 decimal accurate, which means that let's suppose you get like 12.01. Okay, so please don't write 12. If you get 12 on this 00, so just write 1200. So like another one, you get 1200. And then what you do is you show it like, okay, I have added this together, and then I've divided it, and then I've divided the answer with 10 as well, because that would be the time period. Is that clear, everyone? So number one, take care of precision. Precision is basically the least count, like the least number that least decimal place an instrument can tell you. Take average, and obviously write units. So let's suppose whatever the answer is, maybe the answer came out to be like 1.205, right? So I would write it as 1.20, or you can even write it 1.205, because when you divide it, it's going to be something like that. But then because you're now using a formula, you can just increase one more. So that's fine. Okay. Umar, close your microphone. Now, then comes your table. Okay, so up till now, by just taking time period and doing the right precision, we have gained 3 marks for nothing really. Then you're going to make a table. So table they will tell you how many things they need. They need n, which is the number of clips, and then t, and they want you to repeat for 6. So you can take this. So let's suppose they have given you 15 clips. Okay, so obviously you will write n here, write serial number first, so that the examiner know you have done 6. You write n, and then you'll write t1, you write t2, okay, and you write t as the time period. Okay, and anything else? No. So n has no units, t has seconds, this is seconds, and you know that this t1 will be like t1 divided by 2. Yes, sorry?
You have to include the value of n square rooted.
Okay, and like this. Well, because n has no particular like units, so you can ignore the units. If this was a value with a unit, you will write unit in bracket, like I've done it in time period. Okay, so you take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 readings. You also need to understand that these readings that you do must, first of all, in the first mark to achieve, is that it must follow a range. Now, what is a range? Range means that there are 15 clips, so you're going to use the maximum number possible to minimum number possible. And then you can take any readings in between. Like you have taken 15, so 15 clips would obviously oscillate, right? And then if you take like 3 clips, I don't think so 3 clips will be able to oscillate, right? But maybe minimum 3 might oscillate. 2 clips will never oscillate. 1 clip will never oscillate, right? So the minimum possible reading you can take is 3. So you got to include this, and you also include this, the maximum one, and then you can take any 3. And the clips that you have, that the time period you've taken already for the n number of clips, you can also include that in your reading as well. So you don't have to find 6, you just need to do 5 more, okay, including the previous one that you've already taken. And obviously you write the time like in the correct manner, like you say 1.20, 2.20, 3.20, 4.50, 5.60. I don't know what would be the time period. I'm just taking.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, I did this experiment in school, and I did with 10 oscillations, and then I calculated the average, and my friends did with 5. And then for me, I was like not getting, like the values were not decreasing rate or increase. Like mine was like decreasing, and then suddenly one increased. So
what you would do about that? I'll tell you just now. Wait, okay? So let's suppose you get this and write, so you have to check the decimal places in this. The reason why you need to check decimal places in this, because this is a measured value. So when you measure something, you check decimal places. Now, again, you have to check the decimal places again, and you will get some 6 readings. And then you have to check the significant figures here. Why do you need to check significant here? Because now you're using a calculated value. So in calculated value, you take significant in account. in measured value, you take decimal places of the instrument, that is the minimum decimal place it can give you. And when you do that, obviously, yes. Yes, ma'am?
सर टाइम का हम डेसिमल प्लेस क्या देंगे 2 स्टूडेंट्स तक है
So if in the stopwatch, all of you will have digital stopwatch, so they will have these things written on it. So it means the minimum decimal place is 0.01. So you have to put 2 decimal places in that. So it's not a fixed thing, but you have to look at the instrument. Like for a micrometer screw gauge is 0.01 millimeter, but a ruler is like 1 millimeter. So you have to be careful about that, you know. You understand?
ओके सर
Okay. Then obviously, suppose you've taken like 15, and then you've taken 13, you've taken 12, you've taken 10, you've taken 5, you've taken 4. Let's suppose, I'm just assuming. And then when you find this, yes. Yes?
So I'm confused. You have to first prioritize getting all the same significant figures or the same decimal places?
No. What you need to understand is that when I say measured value means that you're using an instrument. Okay, Khatija?
Yes.
So using instrument, you would check the decimal place, which is the least count of an instrument. Is that clear? The minimum decimal place, right? And so you have to we measured the time here. Do you understand? So we're looking at the decimal places. So it has to be like 2 decimal places. Understood?
Yeah.
Then we have calculated value, which means that you are using a formula to find. And when you do that, you use significant figures, which the rule for significant figures is that minimum significant in your data or one more. Is it clear?
Right.
Now, how do we check the values? Like, how does the examiner check your values? So he checks your values in the horizontal direction like this, which means that when he's checking 15, he's going to take it as 1 upon 15. And if you do 1 upon 15, because there are 2 significant figures in this, so 15 divided by 2 is going to be 7.5. So I can write 7.5. I can't write it 8. If I write 8, that is absolutely wrong. Do you guys understand? Because my minimum were 2, and I took it as 1. Is it clear? You can't do it like less than that. You can only take one more than that, not even more than one more. Is this clear?
Yeah.
Now, for the same way, like you've checked 15 and you get this, but for this value, most of people would be confused that when it is 4, it is, sorry?
How is the square root of 10? Which is
Oh, I did divide by 2. Okay, sorry. Alright. Under root of 15. So that's 3 so I would write it as 3.9. Okay. I can write it as 3.9. Is it clear now? And then for 4, now if I do under root of 4, okay, if I do under root of 4, it gives me 2. Now I can absolutely write 2. The reason I can write 2 is because this is just one significant figure, so I have to use the same number or one more. One more means I can write it as 2.0 as well. But if I write it as 2.00, that is wrong because that is more than one significant figure. Is it clear? Like this was 12. Let's do 13. 13 would be abnormal value, right? So we can say 13 and then it gives me 3.6055. Now there is one person who has written 307. So one person has written 3.1 and one person has written 3.07, right? According to what they gave us. These both people are absolutely correct because this is the minimum SF, this one, and this is one more. You can use that. But if somebody has written just 3, that would be wrong. And if somebody has written 3.6055, that is also wrong. This should be like 3.6 and 4, Yeah. So if somebody has written just 4 or written 3.6055, that is wrong. And if somebody has written 3.61, that is correct. Is it clear, everyone? Like that. Okay, now you guys need to understand this very important part. The whole experiment is of 20 marks, and out of 20 marks, 8 to 10 marks will be of table, depending on how many values they give you. So you don't want to lose that. Table is the most important thing, and after table you would want to look at the graph. Okay, so when you plot the graph, they will tell you exactly where to draw what. So t will be on the y-axis and n will be on the x-axis. So when you see the graph will always be a standard shape. There will be 8 boxes on this side and there will be 12 boxes on this side. Okay, so what you do is you just write under root n, it has no units, and then write t, which is time as s, seconds. Okay, and then you start plotting. Now first of all, when you have done this, then obviously you will want to make axes. So axes, like for example, I'm starting from 4 and I'm starting from 15, and I know that this graph is like 8 boxes. I gotta divide this somehow, right? So it's all right, perfectly all right to start from a non-zero value. It's not a condition to write always 0 value. So you can start from a non-zero value. You can write 4. You can write like 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Now I've done it like this. Okay, you can change it if you want to. It's fine. So you could have also started like from 2, but that's up to you completely. But the thing is, your goal should be that if your 15 value is somewhere here, this side from your points must be at least greater than 50%. Okay, so your graph should be greater on each side with 50% at least. So that means that we are on the right track right now. And then on the plotting, I just want to tell you on the axes, I just want to tell you a few things. Do not take awkward scale. When we say awkward scale, what does that mean? Number one, no odd numbers. Odd numbers means that you shouldn't take 3, 6, 9, stuff like this. Okay, don't take odd numbers like 5, 7, and 9 and stuff like that. Don't do that. And do not take points like, like in this one, obviously you will have varied answers, like they have 3.9 and I don't know, that was 2. So when you start from 2 to 3.9, some people would write it like this: 2.11, 3.11. This is an awkward scale. Please don't do that. Okay, so if you're taking it, just take simply 2, and then after, like, maybe if you take it like this as 4, now you understand that, oh, my problem is that now all of these are like only this much and I have to cover like 12 whole things. Oh, I did not do that. It was different here. Okay, I don't know. So maybe it was like, I'm just assuming that the time period come out to be like from 6 to 1, right? So I have to do that. And then even if the time period was coming as the range of, that was a very difficult range, like 2 to 3.9. So what do we do? So you can take like 0.5, right? Or you can start from 2 and then you can make it smaller, like 2.1, 2.2 like this, or 2.4, and then you can take it like 2.8, and then you can take it like 3.2, and then you can take it like 3.6 and something like this. So the thing is that you can always take even numbers. And the next tip is that do not skip more than 3 boxes. What I mean by this is that whenever you write a value, at least they should be written after 3 big boxes, like I have done it. So if you're taking it after 4, that would not be acceptable. Is that clear, everyone? So that's just the tip for, writing the correct things. Then you will be, when you do this, you will get 1 mark. Usually it is 4 mark. And then The next thing will be when you have to plot it. So plotting is easy. You have to plot all 6 points. All 6 points must be plotted, and then when you're plotting it, you're not supposed to do not plot blobs. Now, what is a blob? Now, blob means that basically when you put a circle, and you could put a circle, and or you could put a cross like this. Okay. Now, what most people do is they make a mistake here, and they color this too much. Now, if your circle is bigger than half the small box, like it's bigger than this, it would mean that they're gonna cross it. They would consider this as a blob, and you will get no credit for that. So if you see on the right scale, this is how your exam paper would look like in reality. So look at my point, look at the blobs. So blobs should not be there. So you can plot all 6 points. Now, then what you do is you have 6 points. Let's suppose you have this, you have this, you have this, you have this, you have this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Then comes you will get another mark for this, for plotting 6 and no blobs. And then you have to draw the line of best fit. Now, for the line of best fit, what you're going to do is, line of best fit basically is a line that has two conditions. First condition of line of best fit is that it must be close to all points. The second condition of line of best fit is that equal points on top and below. Now, a lot of people say your point should be on the line. That is entirely wrong. Your points, it is not necessary for points to be on the line. If they are, that's good. If they're not, just don't worry about that. The thing is, if there are 3 points below your line, there should be 3 points above your line. Is it clear, everyone? And then, if that is the case, then obviously you will get 1 mark for the line of best fit. Now, Laiba question was that what if one of my points is like lying somewhere really far? Is that was your question, right, Laiba?
Yeah.
So if that is the case, then what you do is you circle that point and write that is an anomalous point. You always write that is anomalous, so examiner is going to omit that, all right? And then you can get on with your life, okay? The last mark is for quality. Now, for quality, that is a big issue, because quality means that these points that you've plotted must be very close to the line. Usually half of the box, they take it, right? Usually like that. Now, if that is the case, then how do we not lose that mark? So what you're going to do is, you guys need to basically do a simple trick. Now, this is my tip for you, okay? And this is also going on YouTube, so they might arrest me for this, but it's all right. The thing is that the readings you have taken here, the examiner does not know. He does not have the same conditions. He does not have the same practice there, okay? Neither the supervisor is going to check it. So what you're going to do is, let's suppose after I've drawn the graph, after you've drawn the graph, you see that the 5th point and the 3rd point are way off. And you know that only one anomalous point is allowed. So what do? So we do that we're going to change this reading, which is changeable, like the time one, and we're going to bring it closer, so we can put a point. Let's suppose one point was here, this was now here. So I'm going to put another point like this here, and I'm going to check which value of time is going to be there, and n value. So, and then I'm going to put it here. I'm going to change the whole line without even solving this. Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So now, again, so let's suppose like you had drawn like the clips, when you did 12 clips and 16 one, you got a way off answer. 16 was coming here and you're totally, lost, and 12 is like coming here and you're like, oh no, what do I do, right? Sometimes it happens. So what you're going to do is, you will bring this point closer to the line yourself, okay? And bring this point closer to the line yourself. Is it clear? Now read off the value from the y-axis, that is the time square value, right? And edit it here. Edit where the time is. Can you edit? When you edit it, that's the reason you should draw the table with the pencil. You edit it, and then what you do is you take the, like, put the formulas like this and bring the value, like change the whole row according to that point. Understood, Ayan?
Yes.
Although it is sort of, cheating, but it's not cheating, it's being smart, because you know that, okay, my experiment now, you don't have access to that. The examiner doesn't have access to that. He cannot confirm this. He's gonna only look at the values on this line, okay? And when you do that, you're gonna get 4 marks. So now, some people, please don't try, if you've like done wonderfully, the first thing is that you should be doing it very nicely yourself. And if you like points here already and you're trying to make it even closer, because I said it, that is absolutely wrong, because you've already done it all right. You shouldn't, be bothered about it. But only for one of those points which are like really troubling you, and the quality point is not going to be awarded if that point is left alone. So generally the examiner says do it again, but we do not have time for that. To be smart and edit the point. Is it clear? Any questions now? So you get 4 marks, and now when you've drawn this, you've done everything, and then it says you gotta find the gradient. Now for the gradient, you gotta take 2 points on the line. So gradient points are from the line, not table. Do not do that, okay? So, and then wherever you take the points, you make a triangle. Making a triangle is essential because it will help examiner determine where the points were. And then make sure that these 2 points are 50% away from each other on the line. So it should be like really far away. To take the extreme points, or somewhere which is like most of the people would take this much. Please don't do that. That's not allowed. So you won't get gradient mark if you do this. So you find the gradient using y2 minus y1 x2 minus x1, and then you can use y equals to mx plus c to y to find intercept. Now if your graph was started from 0 and 0, you can also use the natural intercept from the graph, but I would still recommend that you use y is equal to mx plus c. That's easier. So once you've done that, you will get almost all the points, and the last part is super easy. What you can do is, you see the equation, you write the equation again, and then you write y equals to mx plus c. You drew t on the y-axis, you drew x under root n on the x-axis, which means the gradient m is equal to p, and the gradient y-intercept that you already found is equal to q. And obviously the gradient from here and y-intercept from here should be written, and this will always ask you for units. So if the value has a unit, like for example gradient has a unit here as second over nothing, right? So it has no unit, so the gradient will be seconds, and y-intercept also is time, so that would be seconds. So do not think that gradient doesn't have units. Gradient has units, and you got to write it down, okay? And finally, if they give you a question like this, you just need to add like p value here, and the length was the first length we found out, g is 9.81, and you can find use correct SF, and SF is the number of significant figures you've been taking along, and you'll get the answer. Yes, please.
For point E, if you don't show any working, you just write the values, you still get the mark.
Point E, where? Oh,
For P,
yeah, this one. Yeah, obviously you would get, but these 2 marks are for like correct answer for both of them, and the correct units as well. So you have to make sure that you write the units, okay? Do not think y-intercept or gradient doesn't have units. They do have units depending on the values, okay? Like that.